So let's find a comfortable seat. I like to raise my hips above my knees and just settle in. So take some shoulder rolls and wiggle about. Just find your space, nothing too serious. Move your head side to side. So today we're going to try and get into the side body. And that always involves the neck. So it always involves your breath. And so instead of breathing, usually when people breathe deep, you push your belly way out and you expand that volume. And that works when you're sitting nice and like we are now. But as soon as you start contorting and twisting your body, it's really important to bring it into your rib cage and down into your pelvic floor. So let's begin. Take a moment and come into this space. So as you inhale, let the crown of the head rise. And you exhale, you can lower your gaze or gently shut your eyes. Let your hands rest on your legs. Maybe if it feels good, bring your thumb and forefinger to touch. Just nice and gently. Let your shoulders roll down your back. And scan through the body. Just noticing. Feeling the tension you hold in your shoulders. And see if you can let it go just a little bit. Notice if you're squeezing one glute or the other. Just do everything with intention. And when your body doesn't cooperate, that's okay too. Just observe. Notice if you're holding tension in your jaw, in your forehead and space around your eyes. Allow your tongue to drop from the roof of your mouth. Now let's begin to intentionally deepen our breath. So breathe in through your nose and feel the rib cage expand out to both sides, into the space between your shoulder blades, and the crown of your head rises. And a long, slow exhale. At the bottom of the breath, your navel squeezes gently towards your spine. Inhale, expand. Exhale, long and slow. Breathing nice and deep. Moving at your own pace. Breathing into the back body, into the side body, up into the collarbones. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. Inhale through the nose, feel the crown of the head rise. Exhale. Slowly squeezing your navel towards your spine. Inhale, rise. Breathing into the rib cage. Exhale, long and slow. One more deep breath. Inhale, let the crown of the head float up. And exhale it all out. Your next inhale, flutter your eyes open. And let's let our head fall to the right ear to right shoulder. And if you want a little bit more, you can raise your right hand up and bring it to your left temple. So without yanking it, just let the weight of your hand be enough. If you're looking for a little bit more, you can draw your left arm out parallel and slowly lower it down, pausing if you feel a sweet spot. Continuing to breathe nice and deep. And as you're ready, help your head back to center. We'll go to the other side. Left ear to left shoulder, left fingertips to right temple. Taking your time. If it feels good, you can raise your right arm out to parallel. And then slowly lower it down. You can find a slight tuck to the chin. Just modifying it to your own needs. You don't always have to do it to the maximum. Maybe just the ear to the shoulder sometimes. Then inhale. Help your head back to center. And I want you to notice, maybe as long as your feet aren't falling asleep, they're fine, but a lot of these postures, we're just moving half of the body. We're not really moving below the hips. And so let's draw our arms out, tee them out. And so just rotate the upper body. So draw that low right rib cage back, gaze behind you, and then bring it back to center. Just feel that abdominal engagement. Then go to the left, moving that left low rib cage back and being heavy with that right hip. Good. Now let's bring our right arm across the body and find a nice shoulder stretch. And then twist it just like you were, and then use that abdominal strength to draw it back in. Just notice that. You don't have to wrench anything. And then inhale, expand out, open the arms, and then left arm reaches across the body, right arm holds it, and take it a little too far, and then use that abdominal strength, that low left rib cage, to draw it back into center. One more time. Open the arms up, rotate it over, feeling the abdominals. Bring it back to center. To the left side, gaze goes over the opposite shoulder. And then bring the arm across. Left arm caught by the right. Bring it over into that twist and then bring it back to center. So no pain in the shoulder. Inhale, expand out. Right arm comes across and draw it over out of past center. And then feel your body bringing it back into alignment. So your navel is pointing straight forward. Nice. Inhale, expand the arms out and draw them up overhead, broadening through the shoulders to draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Let's bend the right elbow and then reach the left arm for the top of the shoulder. Push your head back into your arms so you're not jarring your neck. And then go ahead and pull down with your left hand on your right elbow. Just feeling a nice tricep getting into the back. What you feel in the side body. And being aware of your rib cage, and if your low ribs are strutting out coming into a back bend, draw your low ribs down towards your hips. Staying with your breath. Inhale, extend out. We'll go to the other side. Draw your arms back up. Broaden the shoulder blades to draw your shoulders away from your ears. Left elbow bends. Bring your right hand to the left elbow. Push your head back into the hand. And then feel that nice stretch. Nothing forced. Pushing the head back to keep the head from being forced. And then inhale, expand up. Exhale, bring your hands down in front of you and walk them forward, being heavy through the hips. And walk the hands over to the right, reaching the left fingertips beyond the right fingertips, being heavy through the left hip. Nice, calm, soothing breaths. And inhale, walk your hands back to center, and then over to the left side. So letting your right fingertips reach past your left. Let your right hip be heavy. And just relax down. And then walk your hands back to center. Remove your props. We'll come onto our backs. A little core exercise. It's always a little core exercise. Sometimes we just call it that. So bend the knees, just like you're in a bridge pose. So within the hips distance. We're going to lift up the right foot and bring the calf to parallel. And just slowly extend that foot out, letting it hover and drawing it back in. Placing it down and then extend the left foot. Moving with your breath nice and slow. And if you want a little bit more, we can lift our head and shoulders. So bring your hands behind your head. Maybe you can let your feet float. So just bring one, extend one leg at a time. This really gets into that low belly. And one more on each side. And then we're going to do it, but we're going to straighten both legs. Keep a nice bend in the knees. And then extend one leg, the right leg out. Bring it back up. And the left leg comes down. And if your neck is uncomfortable, just let it come down to the earth. And one more on each side. And then bring your knees to your chest. Give yourself a hug. You can rock side to side on your low sacrum, your low back. Now we'll bring those calves to parallel and push our low back into the earth. And bring the right toes down to tap the mat. And then the left toes, one at a time, moving nice and slowly with the breath. Making sure that low back's engaged. And when you're ready, you can straighten your legs all the way. Maybe you can bring your arms up over your head, back to the hands to the earth. And then you can bring a little more weight into it, more length into the pose, lowering one leg and the other. Breathing, always breathing. Whenever you forget, you're like, what am I supposed to be doing here? You're like, oh, I should breathe. Breathe nice and deep. Push your low back down. And then bend your knees, give yourself a little hug. Let's draw the elbows out into cactus arms and keeping our legs floated. And then let both knees fall to the right. Find a gentle twist. Gaze can go over the opposite arm, over the opposite shoulder. And then inhale, knees back to center, and let them fall to the opposite side. You can give your hips a little hop, and let the spine unwind. And as you're ready, knees come back to center. You can reach up, grab behind the knees, and take a couple of rocks, letting your feet float, finding that mini boat. And then we'll meet in tabletops. So on your next rock, cross your ankles and come to your tabletop. Fine, spread your fingers nice and wide, wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and let the belly drop and the crown of the head rise. And exhale, lower down. So at the bottom of the breath, the head comes all the way down. And moving with your own breath. Finding that full rounded back, squeezing the glutes. And releasing, noticing through the shoulders and the shoulder blades. If you want to bring a little circle to the hips, get into the side body. Shift your hips to one side, and back, and forward. And then go the opposite direction. Still waking up the body. And then return to center, find a nice flat back. We'll find our bird dog. So extend the left fingertips down, pinky on the mat. Step your right foot back, toes on the ground, flex those toes, reaching out through the heel, pushing down evenly through that right hand. Noticing that nice flat low back. And keep it there as you inhale. Bring it up, extending out from all the way from the right heel, all the way through the crown of the head and the left fingertips. Let's bring our elbow and knee to meet, rounding through the back. Inhale, extend, 2 more. Nice and deliberate, moving with the breath. Full extension, and set it down. Pause for a moment, notice the difference in the sides of the body. And we'll go to the other side. Extend the right hand forward, pinky on the mat. Left leg extends out, flex those toes toward the mat. Pushing out to the heel. Inhale, rise up. Keeping those hips nice and level. Now we'll draw the elbow to the knee, rounding to the back. Extend, full extensions. And 1 more. And set it down. Walk your hands, put your heels of your hands where your fingertips are. So walk your hands 1 hand length forward. Tuck your toes. Reach up with your hips, downward facing dog. Deep bends in the knees. Just slowly pedaling out. Spreading your fingers nice and wide. As you're ready, inhale, draw your shoulders over your wrists, crown of your head extends forward. Strengthen those legs, reaching out through your heels, and let your hips be heavy. Inhale, breathing up through that mid-back, really puff it up. Nice distribution through the hands, so pushing down with the base of the index finger. Breathing nice and deep. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice deep bends in the knees. Take a couple more petals. And then find a moment of stillness. And keep that nice bend in the knees. We're going to shift both heels to the left. And just let the right side body begin to open up. Nice deep bend in the knees. And inhale, return to center. And we'll go to the other side. Both heels to the right. Hips shift over to the right. Pushing down with both hands. Inhale. Return to your downward facing dog. And draw your shoulders over your wrists. Crown of the head extends. Hips are heavy. Pushing down evenly through the hands. Lifting up through the back of the knees. Inhale and puff up through that mid-back. Nice and balanced. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a nice deep bend in the knees. And let's find our hands pushing down to the full circle of the palm. Pulling down with the base of the tips of our fingers. Now let's broaden our shoulders, so wrap our upper arms down in towards the body. And then come up to our tiptoes. Nice bend in the knees. And reach the heels down through the mat. Inhale, pull forward, plank. Exhale, lower the knees, spread them wide, big toes together. Push back, forehead comes to the mat, child's pose. You can wiggle your hips and let them settle down. Notice where the shoulders are. Notice where your breath is. Very nice. And let's make our way onto our bellies and come into locust. So come down, let your foreheads come down by your sides. Palms face up. Wiggle through the hips. Just settle down. We'll do it in stages. So we'll start with the upper head. So on your next inhale, begin to lift your shoulders up and your head follows. Pushing your hip points down to the earth. Breathing nice and deep. Gaze is looking forward and slightly up without crunching the back of your neck. Then exhale, lower one cheek to the mat. And take a moment. You can wiggle your hips. You can bend your knees and take both ankles to one side. Hit the gentle windshield wiper. Whatever's good for that low back. And then when you're ready, return your feet down, straighten your legs. And we'll take the low half of the body. So as you're ready, engage your core and strengthen your legs. Inhale, let the feet float up, lifting them. So notice where the back is. Toes are pointed. And exhale, lower the opposite cheek to the mat. Take whatever variation in the hips or any movements or stillness your body would like. And draw the forehead back down to the mat. We'll bring it together now. So inhale, draw your shoulders up, let your feet rise. Maybe your hands float up. So nice broad chest. Gaze is looking forward, maybe reaching up. Lift up those legs. Breathing nice and deep, finding a nice little massage for those organs. Then exhale, lower down, opposite cheek. Moment of reset. And I forgot to do the clasp when we were in the cat on the tabletop pose. So if you're not up for it, feel free to skip it, but we'll take a slightly deeper variation. So bring the forehead back down to the mat. And then bend your right knee and reach back with your right hand and see if you can grab the outside of your foot right around the ankle, and then bend the left knee and do the same. Now, as you inhale, kick the feet into the hands and lift up the shoulders, kicking into the hands, making sure the knees don't splay wide. Breathing nice and deep to find that gentle rock. One more breath. Exhale and release. Let's draw the elbows under the shoulders. And notice the wiggle in the skin movement. And so stabilize the arms. And if your back's uncomfortable, walk your elbows forward a little bit. But if it feels good, find that nice geometry. So stabilize the shoulders or the arms. Push your elbows down. Broad to the chest. Shoulder blades draw together. And then without moving your arms, draw your elbows back towards the hips, kind of like you're dragging yourself forward. Sphinx pose. And then exhale. Bring your elbows under your hands, or hands under your shoulders, tuck the toes, push up, plank, downward facing dog. Check in with the body. Notice how it's a little bit different. Release the head. And then find stillness. We're going to come into a side plank from down dog. So as you're ready, just roll over onto the left foot and stack the feet. Raise up. You're welcome to come into a kickstand. Distributing that weight, lifting up that hip. Breathing nice and deep. And exhale, bring that right hand down. Go through downward facing dog. And then immediately over to the right side. Keep breathing. And exhale, return to down dog. Bend your knees deeply, gaze between the hands. And 10 baby steps coming to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Nice deep bend in the knees. You can grab opposite elbows and find a gentle sway. Releasing through the head. No pressure in the neck. Return to that nice bend in the knees and see if you can step on your hands. So bring your toes to your wrists. And wiggle your toes and give your wrists a gentle massage. You can play with the weight, pushing it forward. No one has ever taken a tumble on this pose. It defies all odds. Releasing the head. Noticing the tongue and the jaw relaxed. And release the hands from under your body, under your feet. Bend through the legs. Let the arms be heavy and take 3 breaths as you rise to stand. Tangling. Let's take a moment and find our space. So rock forward onto the toes and back onto the heels. Left to the outside edges of the feet and then to the right. Now it's 1 fist or maybe 2 fists between the feet. Push down with the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, and the heel. Your quadriceps should be 50% turned on now. So there's no tremble, but they're not soft. Open the palms to the front of the room, opening, broadening through the chest. Inhale, feel the crown of the head rise. You're strong. Inhale, hands to palms, heart center, thumbs to base of the sternum. Full exhale. Inhale, fingertips reach down, out, and up. Gaze follows the hands. Exhale, lead with the crown of the head, hinge at the hips, nice bend in the knees, and fold. Fingertips sweep the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, hands come to the thighs. Gentle squeeze the shoulder blades, crown of the head reaches forward, halfway lift, and fold. Nice bend in the knees. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms rise, pushing down into the heels. Exhale, maintain that engagement through the legs, crown of the head reaches forward and fold. Nice bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift, crown of the head reaches forward, shoulder blades gently squeeze and fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms rise. Gaze follows the hands. Exhale, lead with the crown of the head. Nice bend in the knees and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Crown of the head reaches forward. Broad chest, broad shoulders, and fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to do the little finger point, the index finger pointed, so find your clasp. So we're going to inhale this over the head and then broaden through the shoulders. And so broad, and that'll draw your shoulders away from your ears. Be heavy through the left foot and lean to the right. Notice where your rib cage is. If it's jutting out, so you can draw the low rib cage down towards the hips. Pushing down to that left heel. Your legs are engaged. And inhale, rise back up. Switch the clasp to the opposite pinkies on the outside. Re-engage the shoulders, so broaden the shoulders, throwing your shoulders away from your ears. And then lean to the left. Pushing down into that right heel. Breathing nice and deep. Checking in with your alignment. And inhale, rise up. Hands come down, heart center. Inhale, arms rise. Fingertips out and up. Exhale and fold. Nice bend in the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. And fold. Nice bend in the knees. Plant the hands. Step the right foot back. Low lunge. We'll check in. The left knee stacked right over the left ankle. Right heel is pushing out. Wiggle through the hips. And see if you can make your hips square with the short end of the mat. So probably drawing your right hip forward and your left hip back, squeezing your inner thighs together for that stability. Reaching out to that right heel, pushing down to that left heel. And then lower that right knee, untuck the toes, let the top of the foot come to the mat. Keep that leg engagement. Bring your hands up to your knee when you're ready. You can take a couple of pulses forward to lean into that front knee and then back off and just find the cryptic area of the groin, of the hips. Pausing where you like. Playing around with pushing down to the outside, the top the pinky toe side of the top of the back foot. Push down to the heel of the front foot. As you're ready, inhale and broaden through the shoulders. So your pinkies are going to come towards each other, but it's originating from the shoulder blade. So you're moving that whole arm, bringing the outer upper arm in towards each other. Inhale, nice and tall. Full exhale. Maybe inhale, crown of the head rises. And maybe you can find a little back bend. So not from the low back, but from that mid back. Legs are nice and strong. Then inhale, come out of the back bend. Lower that left arm and draw the right arm up and over. Into the nether regions. Doesn't have to be extreme here. Then inhale, straighten up the body. And exhale, bring your hands down. Tuck the back toes. Step back, downward facing dog. Pedal it out. And we'll go to the other side. So as you're ready, we'll step our right foot between our hands. And just find our moment of alignment. Knee stacked over our ankle. Left heel pushing out, nice and engaged. A little squeeze through the inner thighs. And then lower down the left knee. Untuck the toes. Finding that stability. A gentle squeeze. And as you're ready, hands come up to the knee. And just find this space. You can lean a little further into that front knee. And then back off. A little pulsing. You can feel what your body wants. Not being disciplined and knowing when it's too much. When we've overindulged. Bring the legs back to stability, so pushing down to that front heel, down to the back, the top edge of the foot, the back foot. Inhale, arms rise. Crown of the head rises. And maybe if it's available to you, you come into a slight back bend. Reaching into that mid-rib spine, that thoracic spine. Breathing nice and deep. And then inhale. Straighten up the body. Lower that right hand down. And reach your left arm up and over. Doesn't have to be super far to not find a sweet stretch. Find somewhere in your low back is your quadratus labrum. Your psoas is being stretched here. And I might be able to find them on a picture of the body, but just knowing they exist is just illuminating. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, plant your hands, push back, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. pedal it out. If you want to spin through a vinyasa, you're welcome. But we'll meet in a down dog in a couple of breaths. So now we'll step forward with our right foot. Step your right foot between your hands. Refine that low lunge, knee stacked right over the ankle, pushing out through that left heel. Squeeze those inner thighs. As you're ready, inhale, rise up, high lunge. Maybe you can bring your hands down, check in with those hips, and use them as a steering wheel. And when you find that stability, draw it up. And then let your right hand come down and follow it with the gaze as you open up. Coming into that twist, feeling that low right rib cage reaching back. Left hip is rooting down. And if it's available, you can bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee and come into a twist, pushing out through that left heel. And raising from the low right rib cage up. And then inhale, unwind. High lunge. Exhale, spin that back heel down. Warrior two. Nice and long. Check in with that front knee. Stacked right over the ankle, and you should be able to see your first two toes. And if your knee starts to fall in, bring your right hand to the outside edge of your knee. Just push the knee gently into it. Very subtle thing. And find your center, leaning forward and leaning back. Pushing down to the front heel. Pushing down to the outside edge of the back foot. Nice and strong. Inhale, lean forward a little further. Invert the palm. Reverse your warrior. Lean into that front knee a little bit more. Keeping it stacked. And inhale, return warrior two. Exhale, right elbow to right knee. Sweep that left arm down and around. Side angle pose. Legs are right where they were, nice and strong. If you have the ability, you can let your right hand down, reaching it for the mat or the lower part of your leg. Pushing down out to that back foot. Inhale, warrior two. And straighten that front leg. Find that full engagement. Shift your hips towards the back of the mat as you lean forward. Lean a little bit further. And then exhale, rotate the upper body. And find a hold on the low leg. You're reaching out in 5 directions. Triangle pose. Inhale, bend through the knee, return to warrior two. Exhale, windmill the hands down, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths, go through a vinyasa, take a child's pose, whatever you like. We're working hard. You're here for your own body, for your own, I don't want to say enjoyment, but maybe it's enjoying. Your own purposes. And as we all return to down dog, we're going to step our left foot through and find that low lunge. So finding the legs, pushing down to the front heel, reaching out to the back heel, stabilizing the hips. So square to the front, the short end of the mat. As you're ready, inhale, rise up. And check in with those hips that may have shifted during the transport of the box. Put your real energy pushing out to that back heel. And as you're ready, lower that left arm, reaching that right arm forward and finding that twist. That low left rib cage reaching back. And maybe we come into a deeper twist, right elbow to the outside of your left knee. And bring the hands to meet. Pushing out to that back heel. Breathing nice and deep. Inhale. Return to high lunge. Exhale. Spin that back foot down and back. Warrior two. Checking in with that front knee. Should be able to see those first two toes. And if that knee is falling in, bring that left hand to the front and just gently push your left hand, your knee into your hand. Take a sway forward and back. And see if you can find end up in the middle. Open the palms towards the sky and then turn them down. No extra tension in the shoulders. Inhale, reach forward, invert the palm, reverse the warrior. Keeping that bend into that front knee. Inhale, return to warrior two. Exhale, side angle pose. Left elbow comes down to the left knee. Sweep that right arm down and around. Legs are nice and strong, so bringing energy into that back foot, pushing down to that front heel. And the front arm is just a placeholder. Inhale, return to warrior two. Straighten that front leg. Shift the hips towards the back of the room. Lean forward. Keep leaning. Lean a little further. And then rotate the upper body. Left arm comes to the outside of your left leg. See if you can keep that space in the left side body. Breathing nice and deep. Inhale, rise up, bend in, warrior two. Exhale, windmill the hands down, downward facing dog. Take a few moments. You're welcome to take a child's pose or your vinyasa. And we'll come into a pigeon. So from down dog, we'll raise our right foot high to the sky, keeping our hips nice and balanced. And we'll draw our right ankle to the left wrist. Nice and slow. And place it down. And then straighten out that back leg. Take a look behind you, make sure it's in a good direction. And walk your hands back, sit up nice and tall. Keep that, when you stretch things out, it's hard to have bad alignment. So if you're always going for that nice stretch. And then when you're there, walk your forearms down and forward. And come into a place that's comfortable for your hip. We hold the hip openers for about a minute. You don't want to rush some processes. Some things you just want to get over with, and other things it's best not to rush. You get more benefits, fewer injuries, a deeper experience. But because we're here, it doesn't have to be completely static. So you can, if you want to adjust and see if you can bring your forehead down or put a block under, or adjust your hips and the way your weight is sitting, please feel free. And as you're ready, We'll inhale and walk our hands back under the body. Tuck the left toes, reach the right leg back up to the sky, and set it down. Pedal both legs out. Notice how the body's feeling. And we'll take it to the other side. Find that balance, pushing down to the hands. Reach and flex those left toes and reach them up for the sky. Pushing out through that left heel. And then reach left ankle for right wrist. And settle it down. Extending that right leg back behind you. Checking in. Walking your hands up so you find that nice extension. And exhale. Walk the hands further forward. Come down to the elbows. Maybe on blocks. Maybe you get your forehead onto a block. Whatever suits your needs. It doesn't have to be the same as the other side. In an ideal world, everything would be balanced, but we are clearly not living in an ideal world. So we do what we can. We make it do. We make sure we're as comfortable as we can be. Just letting the weight shift down into the hips. Breathing nice and deep. And settling in. Couple more breaths. And as we're ready, walk our hands back under the shoulders. Push down into the earth. Tuck the back toes. Raise the left foot high to the sky. And set it down. And we'll come down onto our backs. Just make your way, however, whatever that knee looks like for you. Sun's out today. It's gonna be a hot one. And so let's come into prepare for bridge pose. So maybe you can brush your fingertips against the back of your ankles. Your ankles are within the width of your hips. And if you want to walk them forward, if it's more comfortable for you, that's fine. So we'll take the robot arm variation first. So try and walk the outside upper arms down. So you're squeezing those shoulder blades together, popping up the chest a little bit more. Push down with your upper arms, push down with your feet. Squeeze the glutes, and as you inhale, your hips float up, reaching forward with the knees. Find that stretch through that mid-back. And exhale as you're ready. Lower down, one vertebra at a time. You're welcome to, maybe this time you want to find a clasp under the back. So push down with the upper arms, push down with the feet. Inhale, squeeze the glutes, let the hips float up. And bring your hands together and walk your shoulders under a little bit more. Squeeze the glutes, reaching up with the hips, pushing up with the chest, finding that stretch through that mid-back. Breathing nice and deep. And exhale, lower down. One vertebra at a time. Draw your knees to your chest and give yourself a hug. Take a couple of rocks across the sacrum, side to side. And maybe we take a version of Happy Baby, whatever suits us. I'm going to do one leg at a time. Just reaching up and finding the outside edge of your calf, your foot, keeping that sacrum down across the mat. And tuck to the chin. Breathing nice and deep. And I'm going to switch sides. So releasing my one leg, coming to the left side, happy baby. If there's any other poses that your body's calling for today, please feel free to find your way into them. Caring for the neck. Maybe it's a little fish pose. There's a lot of poses I'm not quite comfortable teaching online. So, but it looks like we're going to be off of this online world a little bit. So hopefully in the fall, everything will be back to all in person. Well, we made it this far. We can wait a little bit longer. And as you're ready, you're welcome to continue. But you're also welcome to join me in Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together. Letting the knees be heavy. And if it's uncomfortable for your low back or your neck, you can walk the feet in or out as is appropriate. Your body will tell you. Finding a slight tuck to the chin. Just 1 minute of stillness. Scanning through the body. Noticing which sensations you feel now. As you're ready, we'll extend our legs out and flex our toes back towards the body. Interlace our hands, invert the palms, pushing out through our heels, pushing up through our hands. Find that full body stretch. And throw your knees in, give yourself a hug. And roll over onto one side. Taking a full round of breath. Using both hands, help yourself up to a comfortable seat. Draw your hands together at heart center. Thumbs come to the base of the sternum. Shoulders draw down the back. Let's take a full exhale. We'll close practice with 3 breaths together. Inhaling through the nose. Crown of the head rises. Chest expands. Exhale through the nose, settling down into the hips. Inhale through the nose, crown of the head rises. Exhale long and slow. One more breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Release the jaw, open the mouth. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Spirit in me recognizes and respects the spirit in you. Namaste.